Download the BCSN Plus app today. Visit bcsnnation.com for details.
Okay, off we go. We'll start here in the front. Austin, go ahead.
Julian, what changes once you get an actual opponent? I know a lot, but what was the first film breakdown or the reaction to watching Miami on Saturday?
Yeah, kind of looking at both teams before, and then you get the result and see Miami. So just being able to dive into the film and break them down, and get prepared for this game and get your mind right.
Seeing what their defense did against Texas A&M in that game in that hostile place, just what jumps out and what caught your attention when you look at their defense?
Yeah, really good defense, really talented defense, well coached. Players know what they're doing. They're really smart players, and they tackle well, they cover well. They have a really good front seven, and the defensive line does a really good job for them. And there's some great players, so it's going to be a tough challenge for us.
Front row there, Joey.
Julian, with the defense in Miami, they can get after the quarterback the way they did. What does that create you? What does that do for you, and sort of what you need to do in that sort of matchup?
Yeah, just as a quarterback, have to be extremely quick in your decision making, and you can't be holding on the ball forever, and putting our offensive line in stress. So just being on point as a quarterback is gonna help our offense stay on schedule.
Over here to Cameron T. Robinson.
Julian, just how different were these last 2 weeks off, and just what did you guys do practice-wise? How did you kind of prepare for when you thought about when you're trying to pick between two different teams and then final?
Yeah, it's a little bit different, being off, not playing. But we've been practicing, and it's been great to practice against our defense. The best defense in the country. Practice against Coach Patricia and those guys. So it's been challenging, and they brought the best out of us these past couple weeks, just playing against those guys.
Steven.
Last year, you got to see Will go through this playoff run, and he was at his best in these games. What did you learn and take from him, watching him prepare for each and every single one of these playoff games, that allowed him to have that level of success when he was playing at his best in these games that you can apply to yourself as you go into this now? Yeah,
I think just seeing him, the way he prepared last year in the playoffs, and was able to play his best football when it mattered the most. And as a quarterback, and as Coach Day always says, the best players are their best in the biggest games. So that's definitely something that we got to do going forward.
Julian, as a quarterback, how valuable has it been to have Ryan Day more involved in your room and game planning and everything over the last couple weeks since he's had less on his plate?
Yeah, it's been great having him with us. Just a great quarterback coach and developer, and someone who really teaches the position really well. And we take so much from him, and just brings the best out of us and pushes us to be the best.
We'll do one more here locally, and then we'll go to the Zoom. Doug, go ahead.
Julian, on Jeremiah Smith, both what he's just battled through with his injuries and that kind of thing in the back half of the year, and then also he seems excited, eager to be playing Miami in this game. Just what have you seen from Jeremiah? What do you see from Jeremiah?
Yeah, I think every week you see a guy who's extremely humble, but someone who works really hard and is a great leader for our offense, and someone who just shows up every day and brings their A game. So I'm excited for him in this matchup.
All right, Scotty, in the Zoom land, go ahead and call on anyone you need to.
Absolutely. We have 3 questions. The first one will come from Bill Landis. Bill, go ahead.
Hey, Julian. Could you detail a little bit your process with Carson and the O-line about getting protections communicated and how you think you've grown in that area this year?
Yeah, I think early on it was great to have a guy like Carson, a vet who can really just help me, bring me along, and I think throughout the season I've gained more confidence in that area. We work great together. I think we are on the same page with everything in our protection.
Our next question is going to come from Christian Procia. Christian, go ahead.
Hey, Julian, how's it going? Good to talk to you again. When you look at this Miami defense, obviously 7 sacks against A&M, 3 takeaways. What is the biggest thing that you're looking for as far as just making sure you're taking care of the ball and not giving up all of those turnovers?
Yeah, they're a really good defense, and they're really well coached, and they last game they obviously created a lot of turnovers, so it's going to be important for us to take care of the football and not put our team in a bad situation and put our defense in any bad spots. because we have a lot of trust in in our defense. We have a great defense. So I think just taking care of the football is going to be extremely important in this game.
Our final question from Zoom will come from Brandon Stone. Go ahead, Brandon.
There we go. All right, good. Can you hear me, sir?
Yep.
Julian, first off, next time somebody asks you about any award you won in San Diego, you can say silver pigskin in full. It's okay. You're allowed to. I got 3 questions here. First one would be just could you talk about your experience in New York and being around all 3 of those guys and living the life of a superstar?
Yeah, it was a great experience in New York, and was honored to be out there, and really grateful for the opportunity. And it was just testament to the community that we have here at Ohio State, and the players around me. So it was awesome. But it's we're back to work, and we're excited about this next matchup.
I think anyone that's known you has felt like you've been an adult since you were 12 or 13 years old, the way that you play and your discipline is. But going through these last couple of months, do you really feel like you've truly grown into that adulthood, or is there still that youthful nature of, boy, I'm just a kid out here playing this game and I'm getting to be on these fun stages?
Yeah, I think it's just being a kid and playing the game I love. Growing up, I always wanted to play on the biggest stage and play in front of hundreds of thousands of fans. So it's been awesome this past season, and I think just developing and gaining confidence throughout each week, and just building that into next week.
All right, Mike.
Okay, back locally, we'll go to Bill right in the front row.
Julian, you've been sacked only 6 times going into the Indiana game. Got sacked 5 times. When you watched the tape of that, what did you see? What have you worked on? Both you, linemen, running backs, whoever.
Yeah, just as an offense, we have to execute better. And, a lot of it's, on me. I gotta, can't hold on to the ball as long and, get the ball out of my hand and, keep us on schedule. When we get sacked and getting those 3rd and long, 2nd and longs, it makes it tougher on our offense. So just, being able to, keep us on schedule and, get us into the right play.
Julian, when you were named starting quarterback in camp, like everybody knows the team goals. I'm curious your personal expectations for yourself. If you could think back to camp, what were your expectations for you personally?
Yeah, I think as a quarterback, I expect a lot out of myself, and I'm hard on myself. If I make a mistake, I'm hard on myself, and I'm the first one to put it on me. But I think just it's been a great season, and I'm just excited for it to continue.
Yeah, June, 2 quickies. Do you notice a specific player when you come to the line of scrimmage, like Reuben Bain, number 4? Will you keep your eye on him? I mean, how do you prepare for a guy like that? And then number 2, specifically, what did you learn from Will Howard? Did he step up more as a leader as that went on? Did he watch more video? Just what did you see specifically from him that maybe changed as y'all got into the playoffs?
Yeah, for the Will part, I think you definitely saw the leadership aspect from him in the playoffs, and then just the preparation aspect, and just knowing where he's going with the football every play. And then for the other question, I think when you come up to the line of scrimmage and they have 2 really good edge rushers, so you definitely have to be aware of them because they can cause a lot of problems for you as a quarterback, and just being aware of them and knowing where we have to go with the football.
Julian, you've talked a couple times just now about holding on to the ball too long. Are there some plays that you're thinking about where you felt like you did that, or in situations where you maybe feel like you've done that? What causes it, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's you're kind of hanging on for a play and thinking it's going to be there, and then you're waiting and waiting. But we just got to get the ball out of our hand and check it down if it's not there. And so there's definitely been some plays like that this season where I think I could have just done a better job in helping us stay on schedule as an offense.
What's that? That's a balance for a quarterback of trying to hang in, maybe waiting for a bigger play to develop versus just get rid of it?
Yeah, there is, because sometimes, you're waiting, you might have a big shot downfield, you're waiting, but, sometimes we can just get the ball over our hand. We see it, let's get it out now, let's get the ball and, get 5 yards and move on to the next play.